To order at 7:04. I'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Hillis, could you take attendance?
Mrs. Castle?
Here.
Mr. Hirakawa?
Here.
Mr. Lanacey?
Hello.
Mrs. Mack? Here. Mr. Strang?
Okay, 1.2, review of agenda. Any additions to the agenda? You want to talk about the agenda tonight, Dr. Riddick?
Sure. Good evening and welcome to our January Board of Education meeting. As you can see, it's a pretty straightforward agenda. I'll be providing some updates just in regards to the New York State budget and some timelines to do with our pre-K and some recent kind of middle-level events. And Dr. Harris will be covering some recent building-level events.
Good, thank you. Approval of minutes of the previous meeting. We've had just one, December 20th, 2018. Somebody to make a motion?
Moved.
Any questions or discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. All those against? 1.4, acceptance of financial reports. We have, for this month, we have the internal claims auditor's report for November and December 2018. The monthly treasurer's report with budget amendments, the quarterly extra classroom report as of 12/31/2018, and the quarterly revenue report as of 12/31/2018. Somebody make a motion?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those against? 1.5, visitors and communication. A, communications to the Board of Education. Over this past month, I received one email from the New York State School Boards Association. They were looking for a representative who had a background in the insurance industry. I passed that on to the rest of the board. I don't know if anybody's interested or not. I don't know that anybody has that expertise or not, but if you do and you want to volunteer, talk to Sharon and she can contact school boards. Anybody else have anything? I don't think so. Okay. 1.5B, opportunity for the public to be heard. Has anybody signed up?
Nobody.
No? Okay, we'll have an opportunity later in the meeting. 2.0. Reports to the Board of Education. 2.1, Board of Education reports and updates. Looks like we have our Questar budget vote, April 16th, 2019. Is this something we have to come in special to do?
Usually we do it in the morning,
In the morning,
about
yeah.
10 minutes to 7. We need 3 board members.
Quorum
Usually takes
standpoint.
us 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay. So that's good to know. We can put that on our calendars.
Do we still want to do in the morning? Dr. Reardon will be leaving for Washington that day.
How early is he leaving? How early are you leaving?
We should be on the road by 6.
Yeah.
So we'll be having it with.
I mean, you could join me, but technically, it would.
Do you need to be there?
I really do. I mean, you're basically pro forma voting on something that is.
Right.
In fact, I can't
Yeah.
vote or read anything. It really would be your show. So.
Okay. So it's still a couple months out. Why don't we tentatively keep it for April 16th at approximately 7 a.m.
Okay.
And if over the next month or so, anybody has any conflicts or wants to make a suggestion for a different time, it does have to be that day though, right?
It
If I
does
remember?
have to be that day,
That
yes.
day. So
And we're usually always the first school to get them our results in.
I bet we
So
are.
the pressure is on.
I think a lot of boards have their meetings on Tuesday evenings, so. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Tentatively, April 16th at approximately 7 a.m. 2.2, District/Superintendent Program Report. So if you have a couple things you want to talk about.
Sure, just a few updates, and I believe the board is in receipt of my kind of overall summative statement about the budget, and just for the general public at large. Thank you for being here. Just a couple little things with the budget. As you know, the governor did release his first round of state aid projections. to kind of give a little life to that, and I did mention this in a correspondence, but just so that should you see this in the media, numbers are higher this year. So to put in perspective, at this first round, remember this is kind of the dance the governor, the legislature, and Senate do. We did receive an additional 60,000 in aid. That's different than last year, which was at this time around 25,000. So that's a good thing. But of course, just to caution that as well, that is, as we said, expense-driven aid. A lot of that is based on costs we have spent, so you get aid based on costs the year before. So some of that was when we had higher costs in special education, things like that. So of course, that has helped us, but we'll use that wisely. So people see that number and they think, oh, it's expendable cash. Also, you'll notice our building aid is listed as going up about 200-something thousand, which brings us to about an overall increase in aid of about 12%. So that looks great, but really that building aid is to offset the cost of the debt service. So just kind of a misnomer. So again, usually the Times Union does an article, usually the next couple of days, of highest aid in districts. So it will look like Kiwanis is receiving 12-point-something% in aid. Really, it's about 2.41%. And that's, I'll find that exact decimal. 2.41, I'm sorry, that's right. So again, it is still a good positive thing. The dance will continue. It can only go up, but of course it is just to kind of give life if it was looked at as, well, that's an additional 300,000 in aid, when it's really, not necessarily that more than that. But again, Belle and I have started that process. We are very much meeting every day to kind of balance that budget. I do believe we'll be in great shape, which is a great thing. Speaking of which, you'll see on your table, it is kindergarten selection time. But with that, this year we'll be able to begin our pre-K selection sooner. As you know, last year we had to wait till the building was completed, and we had the budget passed. We did that in July. So what I put before you is kind of a proposed pre-K selection sheet, and I put selection application on that because, as you know, regardless of whether we have one section or two, which again is obviously budget dependent, and that will be discussed further during our conversations in February, there always will be a finite number of pre-K spots. Even if you had two classes, remember by regulation, there will always be a finite number, no matter how big or small that number is. So we did agree upon the backside, which was discussed last year, kind of how we would deal with if we had, for example, 18 slots and 30 applicants. So this is the same piece we didn't have to use this year, but it is rolled over. But also some dates you see that basically the hope was to kind of expedite that process a little sooner. So have applications, distributed, as of tomorrow morning. Put it on the website, social media, send notifications to the newspaper. As of Monday, April 8th, applications would be due. Selection would occur, and families would be notified by Friday, May 10th, with an idea of a pre-K information night by Wednesday, May 22nd. We purposely push out the pre-K section because, again, it always will be kind of budget dependent. Meaning, I hate to say, let's do that. Pre-kindergarten we know we do in March and kind of April, but I think wait until kindergarten is settled. We have a budget that's pretty much in stone. We'll know that for April 1st. We kind of made this timeline based on selecting so that families knew well before the end of the school year whether they were selected or not. And, of course, providing a time for an informational night that doesn't conflict with other nights as well. So if this was okay with you in this timeline, Sharon and I connected this with the building calendar as well to make sure it didn't conflict. It also allows for board participation if we did have to form a committee to select. We discussed last year having a couple board members sit with myself and review, the process. If we did use the backside of the sheet for consideration, that does account for things like board meetings and concerts, stuff like that. So if that works for you and there's no objections to this form, certainly if there's any corrections you'd like to make, let me know. Otherwise, we would like to launch that tomorrow to kind of advertise this so we do get that out there so families that do want to be considered to have ample time before Monday, April 8th. Going along with that too, if I may switch kind of gears to what is happening, so this is kind of what will happen. Some pieces to kind of showcase that have been showcased on our social media as well. Vaping presentation last Thursday was a big hit with our middle school students. The goal is to bring that to the parents and families and do that actually as a part of a PTA meeting, kind of bring that group back. It was a very solid discussion, a very sobering discussion. Actually, Mrs. Boucher, as a middle school teacher, I think very interesting to see how many students were very well aware of this topic and very well aware of that this health concern. So that was kind of, an indicator to us that this was appropriate to bring this program in, and again, hopefully bringing that to families as well. Also, you'll notice our high school fair was also advertised. That was on Tuesday, very well attended. We did different this year. We split the kids up, so we had kids coming up rather than groups of 30. We had the kids come up in groups of half and half. So they had ample time to ask questions to their counselors, to the 5 counselors that representing the 5 high school choices. Special thanks to Amy Murphy for making that happen and kind of facilitating that. Going along with that also, Career Day is in the process. Actually, the middle school is in the process of doing prior to the February break, and what we were calling an Unexpected Careers Day. So actually partnering with the Chamber of Commerce and the Director of Strategic Partnerships at Questar to basically make that day prior to the February break not just the traditional career day of doctor, attorney, things like that, but actually solicit kind of the unknown careers, careers in technology, the arts, the construction trades, things of that nature. So working in concert with the county and with the chamber, that's been very exciting to kind of look at what's up and coming, especially in the area, and work at those careers out there that require a 2- and 4-year degree. And the goal is to bring all of our middle schools up and experience, breakout sessions and have a choice of what they attend in that afternoon, the February 15th. So more details to come, but actually right now we have eight participants of local businesses that would like to come in and work with our students and discuss what their career entails. And again, they're kind of rather untraditional careers. Video gaming technology, accounting in the arts, things that we wouldn't expect to overlap but do, which are pretty exciting. And otherwise, you also see is another exciting field trip, to market, going with our course schedule. We our exploration of music class, or our music industry class, did visit the iHeart Media Studios yesterday, which was very exciting. Actually, they were able to be a part of a live broadcast with the Pix 106 morning show, and also see the other broadcasters that are in that same bullpen as well. So it's kind of exciting because it really are students that necessarily are not performance driven, but are obviously driven to music technology, music industry, production, things like that. So it was pretty cool. And again, they got to meet some local personalities that they were pretty excited about. So.
Wonderful. Okay. Good. Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Reardon? No? Okay. 2.3, Principal's Report. Hey, Dr. Reardon.
Hello, Happy New Year. Since we've been back, we hit the ground running and started assessments. I feel like that's what we do when we get back from a break, right? We start assessments, and thank you to the teachers for being flexible and getting these kids off the bus day one and running them through the NWA and F&P process, assessing ELA and math, which takes quite a bit of work and collaboration from everyone. So all 400 plus students have been assessed in K through 8, and data teams started actually today all day reviewing the data, going through with each teacher, sitting down to talk with about each child. Tomorrow it'll be all day again, talking about the services, supports, instructional groupings, just right materials, making sure that every child has made the progress that we anticipated, if not regrouping, setting goals, and where are we going from here so that we can push through the next half of the year. So thank you to Kim Herzelbeth, Stephanie Carbone for organizing, getting all the kids through the assessments, all the teachers for all their support. I mean, it's just, it's overwhelming. It's a huge task, but to know that within 2 weeks we could have, the whole school done and run through all the data. So that's exciting, and so that's finishing up this week. As far as student presentations, to see, Dr. Reardon touched on a few, the vaping, from Rensselaer County, so we appreciate them. They also came back this week and did a 3rd grade presentation on emergency situations, weather, power outages, tornadoes, snowstorms. I'm sure the kids are gearing up for their family plan and what to stock in the basement. They can do that for this weekend, but we thank the health department for coming out and doing that presentation as well. We also had an arts and ed presentation, Foods Around the World. If you saw some of the pictures on the website, that was a lot of fun. So thank you, Linda Ficura and Lisa Hancock, for organizing that. It was a children's author, Alicia Cletus. She authors over 100 books. She shared the writing process with the kids about researching different foods around the world. She brought dozens and dozens of different foods in. I mean, the kids were eating seaweed and canned eel, and they were trying all kinds of things. I just couldn't believe it. So it was a lot of fun. She's sharing her writing, her love for writing, the research. The kids had a great time, so that was a lot of fun. That was school choice, as you mentioned. Thank you to Amy Murphy. That was a great presentation. Some staff development that we've had in the last couple weeks. We've had the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities to come here. We actually won a grant, so it's 5 days of training here. They're training a team to work on behavioral interventions. And the idea of this is to train a team that we wouldn't need outside consultants. That we would have this team not only to help students with autism, related disabilities, but any child. It could be any child having behavior. So we've got a core team, and then we have specialized teams that will work with a couple children that were chosen to work with their families as well, who are on the spectrum. So it's great. I guess 50 plus schools all over New York State had applied, and we were one of 4 that received the grant, and were able to take advantage of this. So that's been great. So we've had 2 days. They'll come back for 3 more days, but we're really excited about that opportunity. So we've been busy here, and about 12 teachers are taking part to be on this team, this turnkey training. So that's exciting. So more to come on that. Thank you to Stephanie Carbone for submitting the grant, helping with the application, and Kim Herzelbetz for all the work in organizing it, and then helping us to build a team that we know will sustain. So it's not just going to be done, like hopefully this will be a big part of PD moving forward for all children. So that's exciting. Yesterday we had a de-escalation training for the entire faculty and staff. Someone from Parsons came over to talk about how to de-escalate children who are in a crisis, looking for warning signs, triggers, ways to de-escalate our students, but also monitoring our own behaviors, our gestures, our verbal reactions to students who sometimes even escalate instead of de-escalating. So everyone took part in that, which was wonderful. And we have one celebration. Congratulations to our 7th grade spelling bee champion, Penny Cominal. So Penny will be moving on to the regional spelling bee at Proctor's on February 13th. So that's exciting. It's been a busy few weeks.
Kudos to all involved in getting the card grant, because that is huge. I used to work for the office that funds them, and I know how
Great.
hard it is to get on their
Yeah.
calendar. With the testing, is it tough to get the kids focused on testing the first day back from vacation?
Well, you know, we were talking about that today. I think some of you ladies were saying that. I'm not, actually, it was Teresa brought it up today, like, can we not do the first day?
Yeah.
You know, it is a lot. Yeah, so maybe, you know, we've talked about that, you know, day 1 and 2, you know, trying to wait to that next week. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's, we've got it down
It's
that
going to
we.
be hard for teachers to get back in the
Yeah.
focus, and then
Right.
have the kids trying to
On
get
day
back on the
1,
focus
yes.
too.
So we're taking a little bit of that into account.
But you're trying to finish before then the second quarter, right?
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's 2 full weeks to run everyone through, and then to sit, you know, today we were all day, tomorrow all day, you know, talking about, you know, okay, where do we need to go? And there's, you know, that will take us a couple weeks, and so, yeah, I mean, we're eager to get it done so that we can start instructional strategies, the report card, having those levels, having that on the report card, having those reports run,
I
you know.
must say, it's very streamlined, runs like that now, which is great. You know,
Only took a
the
few
first day
years.
after break, it's still, the kids come in, they get their computers, the codes are ready to go, they know how to sign on, and it's just, it does go off now pretty well without a hitch, so.
And for the most part, I mean,
They're all running around.
we looked at
Crazy.
half of the school today, and for the most part, you know, the kids who flag are the kids that we assumed would flag, and the majority, you know, there's a couple of kids like, we're like, wow, that doesn't seem right. Then we look at, we can see how long they took. Oh, you know, it took them 10 minutes to do, you know, 50 questions, probably not the best, and we could, you know, run them through again, but they did do pretty well. It wasn't like we had a large bunch of kids that did worse because they were the first day. I mean, they did pretty well, so. But yes, we will take that complaint into consideration.
Get the cobwebs out of the brain, maybe we'll get it there.
Sounds like constructive feedback.
Yeah, no, it is definitely. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. 2.4, PTA/SEPTA update. Do you want to give
I can do that, that's
the
fine.
meeting?
So,
Whatever you
Wine and
wanna do.
Skill PTA, as usual, has a very beautiful presentation. And I have nothing. There's something. Okay. So their membership update, they are up to 76 members. And they successfully achieved the Alumni Community Membership Award Badge for those people belonging to their membership. They have entered and paid over 15% of membership this year as alumni community members. So that's very cool. They don't have any fundraisers going on at the moment. And their current supported events are Science Crew and School Banking. And I heard Lego Club is coming out. It's a flyer, because I inquired. Where is it? No. And they funded some field trips in the fall. It looks like first grade went to Bowman's Orchard, third grade went to Hell Caverns, kindergarten went to Liberty Ridge. The fifth and sixth grade put their bus deposits down. They must be going somewhere really fun. And the next PTA meeting will be scheduled in early February, and their upcoming, future fundraisers and supported events, another welcome back. Oh wait, no, these must have happened. I'm sorry, I'm not reading it right. Those are in the past, the welcome back event, the health fair, and the turkey shoot. So maybe they're planning that for the future. And then for SEPTA, we just had a very exciting Get Off Your Apps event. So that's a national PTA event called Get Off Your Apps, and Courtney Townsend always plans the theme, and she chose Ninja Warrior, which I didn't realize was a TV show. So glad I brought prizes. They did not expect cash award, which apparently that's what they get on the show, is cash. They were happy with their little ninja toys that they received. So we had over 80 kids, and it was super fun. It was a really great event, and you could tell the kids were just enjoying themselves with their friends and having fun, and everybody was able to do the obstacles. They weren't too difficult. Some parents wanted to do it. I'm like, oh, go ahead. Our next thing coming up is we're having a night on for parents on the OPWDD process and securing Medicaid. So that'll be February 5th. We have a representative from Life Plan coming to talk to parents about how to start that process, or there was a big change in the process on July 1, so there's a lot of families in limbo. They don't know where to go, what to do. So we're just trying to provide some support for those families to try to get services, community services.
Awesome.
Good.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's not on the agenda, but one little update I wanted to give was about the Whiteview Road development. Dr. Ritter and I went to the last planning board meeting, and it was not on the agenda at all. The applicant wasn't prepared to make another presentation, so Dr. Ritter and I will be back in February. We'll keep you updated. You want to add to that?
So yes, we will. Of course, that agenda should be published hopefully soon, and we'll see if they did make that agenda. There are 2 meetings in the month of February, I believe. So we'll see if it's this first one or the last one.
Right, I believe they're reorganizing when they meet, the planning board. Okay. 3.0, appointments and authorizations. We're going to do a consent agenda for 3.1 through 3.5. Anybody have an objection to that? No? Okay. 3.1, approve the CSE, CPSE recommendations as per attached. 3.2, appoint Michelle Roy as substitute teacher aide, non-certified teacher at $80 per day. 3.3, appoint Kayla Tobin as substitute nurse at $95 per day. Appoint Sam Davis, Keith Bateman, Michael Bourne, and Courtney Townsend for extracurricular appointment, baseball, softball coaches for the 2018-19 school year as per the WTA contract. And 3.5, accept the resignation of Christopher Phillips, teacher aide, effective January 31st, 2019.
All motion?
Second.
You want to talk about any of these items?
Sure. Just to elaborate, besides kind of the consent, substitutes and pieces like that, you'll notice 3.5 was recent. Mr. Phillips, as you know, is a certified teacher. He is pursuing the next step in his career. He'd like to again begin substituting full time to hopefully gain some experience. So he will be leaving us January 31st. We are working on lining up a substitute, an appropriate substitute for that particular caseload. And then, of course, examining that position to see what we need to do for the rest of the school year. So the key is, of course, as you know, we're also doing projections to see, what kind of staffing we'll need for the 1920 school year. So we'll be looking at what the right match is now, and also whether we need to repost that position as a full-time or get through the year and then look at that after the school year. But we'll make sure that's a very smooth transition.
Mrs. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. Hirakawa?
Yes.
Mr. Lanisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Mack?
Yes.
4.0, informational. Our next regular Board of Ed meeting will be February 28th, 2019 at 7 p.m. And our last opportunity for the public to be heard. Saw anybody sign up? No? Anybody in the audience? Last chance?
Pancake breakfast for 8th grade is next Saturday. If you want to come out. And Applebee's.
The one in East Greenbush?
Yes.
Request for executive session. I don't believe we had a need.
Nope.
Do you have a need?
I'm good.
Okay. We don't need to come back to open session, so I guess we can have a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against?